Hello, everyone. Um, First of all, thank you to KIKK for inviting me here, to believing in my projects, and just to let me speak here. And thank you to all of you, actually, because I didn't expect that much people. So thank you for that. I'm Alber K. I'm a music producer, an artist, and I think that let's begin to try to put all of you in my world by giving you a bit of an idea of which music style I produce under that project. So let's go.
Out here in the wild, there are songs that are sung from mothers to daughters, from fathers to sons. See it from my view, player gets no reward when all these hearts come knocking on his door. Troublemaker, it's in your nature. Player gets no reward when all these hearts come knocking on his door. Troublemaker, it's no game changer. I don't wanna feel ashamed no more. Show me what this love is for. I don't wanna feel ashamed no more tonight.
So probably that you don't know me yet, or maybe you already heard me on the radio. Whatever, that's the kind of music I produce. But I don't just produce music. I think in today's world we need more. And so behind Alber K, there are a lot of different things. And so I think the best manner to let you know how music had an impact on me is to give you a quick summary of my parcours. And so like it's cool. I'm an engineer, an electrical engineer, a music tech engineer, a producer and an artist, but I became also an entrepreneur. But I don't say that to name a few things that I do. What the message that I want to tell you here is, if I manage and I'm here today with all those things that I achieved, it's for one reason. It's because I had one passion. It's music. And that passion, so music, gives me the energy, a lot of luck, and gives me opportunities to travel and to study engineering and music technologies on a certain way. So everything begins actually, without that I knew it, when I was 8. I was in my room. I was playing Lego, Playmobil. I don't remember what I played, to be honest. And I didn't have a radio. And so I really wanted to play with music, of course. And I was always telling to my dad and my mom, oh, okay, I want music. And one day I found actually in the plus minus in the garbage a really old radio. Like a radio in the cars, you know, like it was still with CDs, but it was not working. And I went with that radio to my dad, and I asked him, okay, let's repair it. And my dad loved electronics, and so we began to repair it, and boom, I had a radio. So that's a first big step. Then after that, I went to school, and I was in a boarding school in Melle. I heard Nederlandstalige gasten, so hello everyone. I was in College Paters Josephite, and there is actually one big element that changed a lot. It's you have once a year a big party for students, like for the boarding school guys, me. And we could play a lot. You have a lot of activities coming, but there is one small detail there that changed everything. There was a DJ. When you are 12 or 13 years old, you see a DJ, you think it's super stylish, super cool, whatever. Okay, let's go. I also want to do that. So this is how I was introduced to the DJ world and the music world. So I began to buy like a really old and simple DJ gear to begin to do that. And then before I knew, I had a friend of my parents that did a little party and that invited me to play there. To be super honest with you, it was not for the quality of the music. It was just because I was really small for my age and I was cute. So they gave me that opportunity. I went there for the fun, and another person asked me, then another, whatever, you know how it went. And before I knew it, I was playing in the clubs in Brussels. At the same time, I was still studying, of course. And after that, what happens was that I arrived at the university. I began my university journey at LECAM in Brussels, and that's industrial engineer. And there is a big step. It's As You Wish event. It's a company well known in Belgium for private events. Booked me and hired me to be one of their DJs for private parties and private events. This gave me something really special, is that I was playing every weekend in different parties, but I had also my own bookings in clubs. So at the end, I played 2, 3, 4 times a weekend extensively, and at the same time, I was at LECAM trying to study. Of course, let's be honest, I see a lot of young people. If you remember, when you arrived at the university, you are in Brussels, in my case. I have an apartment with friends, party, parents are not there. Whoops, big party. We forgot to study. So what had to happen happened. I had to redo my year. And at that time, it was also a big moment for me, because this is how I was introduced to music production. Music production, I did it like for the fun in my room. And of course, I went to I did then my first year. I passed the exams in Christmas, and this event in January then is a big event, because I passed my exams, and today I still say thank you to my parents, because they came to me and they told me, are you actually sure you want to do that? So industrial engineer for the rest of your life, and still do you see yourself studying there for 5 more years? And this was where there was a real break point in my life, because I was like, okay, no, let's forget about that. And I went to Oxford for the rest of the year to try to learn English. I didn't really achieve it. You can see it or hear it, whatever. I hope you understand me. I went to Oxford, and in Oxford, there was one really important person that changed everything. It was Helen. Helen was somebody that helped you to find a good university with what you want to do. So I told her, I want engineering, technology, and music. And this is how I went to UWL, University of West London, in London. And of course, because it was a bit, at that time, annoying with my parents, because when you miss 2 years, and they were like 100% sure that it was just because I did too much music, too much party and all that stuff. What happened is that we were only 30 people to be accepted in that university. So what happened is that I said nothing. I passed the first interview, the second one, the third one, and we are in June, and I'm at the final interview stage, where you have the guys from the university that says, okay, but you have to come with your parents, and now it's like you have to, it's the final stage. So I had to call my parents and say, yes, actually I did that. without telling you, do you think you can come in London to see that university? And this is a breaking point, and this is why I say to all of you, if you have something like that with your children, please do it, is that my parents were super open-minded, and it was a world that they didn't knew, because music, when you tell to music to parents, they directly think about somebody that's in the street playing guitar and trying to get some money. They of course want you to be an engineer or whatever. And so they came to London, see the university, and there it's where they saw that they saw the labs, the electronic labs, and they saw the potential, and of course something completely different from what they had imagined. On that day, it's a day where I got 100% support from my parents. That changed a lot. And so at the University of West London, we had to do 3 projects, 1 project each year. And we worked also on other projects like the AD technology. I don't know if you know the AD technology. It's when you go home, have a listen to that. You put AD technology in YouTube, and it's actually you put a headphone, and the music that you are going to hear is going to turn around your head, or you are going to be able to hear something here or here. This is one of the projects we developed at University of West London in combination with another brand. I was responsible for the algorithm that we give them to make sure that we could have that AD space in the headphones. Other projects that we did is that in the first year of my bachelor degree, we had to do something that already existed. So we made amplifiers. And then in the second year, you have to choose something that already exists with something new. And in the third year, something completely new. And this is what gives me the possibility, without knowing it, sorry about that, to go to a new world for me, the US. Because my project had, it's still a secret, so sorry about that, but gave me the chance with the teachers to apply for MIT and Georgia Tech. I ended up to go to Georgia Tech, and there is where actually everything really begins, and where I personally even changed, and it had even an impact on how I produce music for my client or for myself today. So I arrived at Georgia Tech in Atlanta, in the States. I never went to the States before. Remember, I never took one day to go to the States, or I even never had I never even wanted to go there. So this is thanks to the music and thanks to the project of my university, because I went in my passion that gives me that opportunity. I arrived to Georgia Tech, and here there is a completely new world that's facing me. You want to develop something, so you are only accepted if you have a project that they decide. You arrive with a project and you are taken, so we are 15 students that are accepted each year. There are 2 years, and so we are 30 in total. And you arrived, if you want electronic parts, you ask them, the next morning it's on your desk. It's not a problem. So I never saw that of my life. So I'm in a position where okay, let's begin to do some stuff. I worked on a lot of projects, and there, with all these new possibilities and those new goals that grow, I begin to have 2 projects that really took my attention. The first one is Jason Barnes. Jason Barnes is a super cool guy that worked a lot, and he was a drummer. But the problem is that at his work, he lost his arm. We had to cut his arm. But he was a drummer. So he arrived at Georgia Tech, at the Georgia Tech department, GTCMT, and he wanted to have a prosthetic arm. So we worked on that, and we actually made for him a prosthetic arm. So I'm going to show you when I arrived at Georgia Tech, at what like the prosthetic arm was, at what level it was. Oh, is there internet? No? Yeah. Vous avez internet? Pardon. Sorry about that. If KIKK Pro, maybe. Sorry everyone about that. Dun-dun-dun-dun. The KIKK Pro one. And so that prosthetic arm really took my interest because it was the first time that I saw somebody without an arm. The first time it's quite impressing. And you're going to see, okay. Okay.
In this video, I demonstrate how I control the robotic drumming prosthesis using my forearm muscle. The EMG electrodes attached to my arm send very low latency signals to trigger the robotic stick when I contract my muscle. This allows me to operate the arm in different ways. For example, I can trigger a hit with every contraction, or toggle between different automatic drumming states.
So that arm is working with neural network, of course, and it evolved. So you have different modes. So it can help you to doing some beats where you just push with your hand, and then it does a beat, and you let it play on the drummer. But of course, that was not enough. What he wanted is to do his own patterns and to be able to still be creative and like being able to develop himself as an artist. So we had to work on that. And of course, a side project, what everyone wants if you lose your arm, is to be able to have your hand again after. So after a lot of work, this is when we did a prototype to present it to Google. And this is what, after 2 years, it became. Know that everything is controlled by his brain in real time. So that project is just crazy because with that prototype and with the other that you saw, the university got funds, and today it's been booked by Google, and it's the prosthetic arm that's the most performant in the world. And now he's even able to drive again and to basically do everything by just thinking with his brain. Oh, I want to move my little my arm. Then I do my arm, whatever, you got it. Another project where I was more involved in it was Shimon. Shimon, who is Shimon? Shimon is a robot that played with the artist. So when I say with the artist, he learned thanks to Max MSP patch that's done in Ableton Live. And he learned what the artist is doing, and you have different modes. He can play with you, or he can just improvise with you, or he can do exactly the same that what you want. That's what you are playing, sorry. So
if we give it like the first 8 bars, it's trying to generate the 9th bar. And then it just keeps going and going until it's created a composition. I would say like 70% of it is classical and jazz music. So when I play like a C major scale on a piano, I want Shimon to understand what that means contextually about music. Like when you're telling a story, you don't want them to just know, oh, he used this word and that word. You want someone to understand what is the overall theme. Yes, it's being creative because it's generating music by itself, but then there are some who might say that we still have some research and some work to do before we really create a truly creative machine.
So you get the concept of it, but of course we had to work on it because what you saw is cool, but what if we could really put him in context to play with a band or to play with a DJ or to just improvise in the music production process of the artists? And what if we combine him with Jason Barnes and with a lot of different technologies? So after putting it in context, we thought, okay, we used AI database of songs to produce music, but what if we could do exactly the same, but with singers, and let him sing? And so this is one of the examples where he play in live with a band. And where he sings on it.
There's a swim with every star. They sing along a magical song. Distance long. Distance long. With the sun heading for that lost home, to be of himself with the mouth of wine, time immemorial.
Okay, so you mainly got what it is. So Shimon was created originally by Gil Weinberg, and a lot of students worked on it. And now I'm sure you think, okay, but what have you done? Because now I just show. And so, as you heard, um, it produced 70% of the time classical music and jazz music. I was responsible to try to implement electronic music to Shimon. And I had to produce the album with Shimon to show that to the world. And normally I had to go to Amsterdam Dance Event 2 years ago, but because of COVID, it was cancelled. But now that you know that, let's listen to one of my tracks that was made with Shimon. I never said it before, actually, but it was signed with Sony Music in Sweden. It was supposed to be like at the same time that the conference and really like publish and release an album about it, but COVID was annoying for everyone. But I hope that when you are going to hear that, you are going to hear the music differently. Because when you use technology in music, at the end of the day, the music is still music. And if you don't know about it, what's behind music, you will actually don't realize it. Because when we talk to people who produce music, they know. But the person from all the day, when you talk about music, you just think, oh, music is done, we press on a button and music is there. But there is a big, big step and a big work behind it. So that's the marimba that you hear. And now imagine Shimon playing it.
Try from the minute I'm awake to find my mind.
And this is interesting to see how you
Cannot
can
seem to
implement
shake this trying time.
technology
My heart aches
in
for
electronic
you and
music.
And I lie in the bed that I have made. I cannot hide from bittersweet escape of your blue eyes. Know that my heart breaks for you and I.
So when you heard that, you have to know that the melody of the marimba in the intro was completely done by Shimon the robot, and thanks to the Max MSP patch that we've created there. So the approach in music production was more like, okay, let's make a track. We know that we want electronic music. Let's see what Shimon can do, and let's try to produce around it and take Shimon as somebody that helps, for the composition and the production, and more taking it like a partner. Of course, there is a lot of AI in it, and you still have to love what he does. So it's really important as an artist when you do stuff like that, in my opinion, is that if the robot gives you ideas of new melodies, you still have to like it and enjoy it. It's not because Shimon gives you that it represents you as an artist, or that it represents what you want to show in your project. So that's something that's, in my opinion, super important. Of course, I was in Georgia Tech, and I told you about a lot of projects that we did there in that department. But by being there, Atlanta actually gave me a lot too, because at the same time, I was lucky enough, and that was luck, to be seen by a guy, his name is Stefan Elder, that runs a club there in Atlanta. And he really liked what I was working on, and I was one of the only guys in the department that performed and produced music, because all the others were like purely like civil engineer, software engineers, a bit of everything. But I was the only one that also played music, produced music, and actually performed as a DJ or an artist. And that gives me the opportunity and the chance to be able to be taken as a resident DJ in a Billboard ranked club in Atlanta. That opens me a lot of the doors, because I was the weekend there where I had to open for big names, Oliver Heldens, Mala, Jay Hardway, whatever. And at the same time of the studies, I was still working on that part. After that, what happened is that Believe Music Hall, it's not really a club, it's more something like a hall, like in Brussels, l'ancienne Belgique, let's say, that saw me coming in Atlanta because it's really rap and rap-based, and so I really arrived with the new music style for them, and this gives me the opportunity to play there too. And I was really lucky for that. Now, how Alto's project helped me, how I want to implement that in the future, because that's what's interesting at the end of the day. Well, actually, by seeing Alto's project, I don't produce the same way as I did 5 years ago, because now, for my project Alber K, when I'm going to produce, I'm going to try to make something new, a new technology. So it can be something like a compressor, a preamplifier, with really subtle things where I change the transformators or the condensers or whatever to change the color of the sound. It can be something super subtle, but it can be something that I can use that you really hear it. But the philosophy behind the production process of that completely changed thanks to Georgia Tech. Of course, it's more work. Georgia Tech helped me so much because thanks to them, I learned to know what really work was, something that honestly I didn't knew before. And now, for example, just to put you in the mindset, I use currently a lot of guitars in my tracks. I can't play guitar. I just did it. I just learned everything by myself with my ear, but I know nothing about music theory actually. And so now that I have a guitarist, if I want a guitar in my productions, I have a guitarist that comes, and when I have that, the philosophy behind this now is not just giving him a Fender guitar, but I'm currently building my own electric guitar from scratch. So of course, most of the people won't hear the difference because, let's be honest, I never did a guitar before, and a Fender guitar that cost thousands of dollars and that has I don't know how many years of knowledge of building that will have a better sound. But at the end of the day, what's important is to have your sound and to be different. That's what's creativity, and this is what, as an artist and other artists are looking for, actually. So now, building that guitar, probably that I will have to make 2, 3, 4 to have something decent, let's be honest. But once it's done, the idea is that every guitarist that play on my tracks will use those guitars. And this is really important in the mindset of the production. Of course, I produce a lot of different things. It can be from EQs, from a lot of different things, and also instruments. But this is a bit too early to talk about it. And then what I want to tell you too is that everything that happened here is that it gives me to the final conclusion where I actually started my own company, studio. It's called KIKK Production. And this is something different than just recording studio. It's a studio where we want to have a different philosophy. The idea is to choose between 5, 10, 15 artists where we really believe in it, that have something special. and to try with them to do something unique using technology that we create there, and using it on a creative way in new productions, and see where the technology can help us to evolve in the production process of music, and especially electronic music. This project came a bit thanks to the COVID, because I didn't have shows anymore. I was back in Belgium for the first time after 8 years, and at the beginning I was just building this studio for myself as a producer, to get finally a place where I could like finally produce and not be like on the road and being with headphones or something like that. And after, on my Instagram page, I got like people asking me, oh, could you give me a feedback of that? Could you do a mix master for me? And I realized that they were happy with the results I give to them after coming to the studio, or just sending it via internet to myself. And this let me realize that I could do that to get, let's say, money that I can reinvest in the project, in my new technologies, in the development of those new technologies. And this was the perfect solution, actually. So now I'm going to open the studio like in a couple of months. If you need a recording or something, don't hesitate to contact me. And the conclusion of this little talk, first of all, thank you for being there, but is that please, if you have, or if you are gonna have children, if they have a passion, I'm convinced that there is always a way to find something smart in that passion. When I say something smart, is you as parents, and me as future parents, or we will see, hopefully. Our mission is not to say, oh, do engineer, do law, do because it's safe. You are sure that you are going to have a work and that you are going to have money. But what's important is to take their project and to see what's possible to do around it, so that even if the project fails, you get a backup. Look at my situation right now. At the beginning, it was just music, with parents that didn't know much about it, and myself either, because we don't come from a music world or from an artistic family. And because we were open-minded, and because I worked, and this gave me the energy to learn about engineering, about technologies. Now, even if my musical project, and that my music, I can't live with it, if the people don't like it, at least I can always be an engineer that engineer new project or new products for brands, and I already do it. So please have that in mind, because I think that there are so many talented people in the world. Thank you for being there. I'm Alber K. I'm 26 years old, and I hope it was not too annoying. Thank you, everyone.